It is often said that the world remembers true love for ages. However, today we are going to tell you about a love story that wasn't true, yet the world remembers it. The reason? This love story was horrifying. So horrifying that it wiped out several lives in an instant. This is the story of Shabnam and Salim. Yes, the same Shabnam and Salim who chose a dreadful path in the name of love. A path so terrifying that it still sends shivers down people's spines. What is the complete story of Shabnam and Salim? Stay with us till the end of this narration. We assure you, knowing the full story will leave you shocked. This incident shook the entire Uttar Pradesh government to its core within just a few days. Let's dive into the details. Before moving forward, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Now, let's begin this tragic tale. This story unfolds in the village of Bawankhedi in Amroha, Uttar Pradesh, on the night between April 14th and 15th, 2008. The village was eerily silent, with most residents fast asleep. Amid this silence, around 2 a.m., a girl's loud cries pierced the night. At first, people thought it was a hallucination. However, as they focused, they realized the cries were coming from the house of the village's wealthiest man, Shaukat Ali. Shaukat Ali, a college lecturer, was highly respected in the community. His grand mansion, spread across 9 acres, was the pride of the village. Hearing the cries, villagers rushed to his house. They saw Shabnam, Shaukat Ali's daughter, screaming uncontrollably. Unable to understand what had happened, some villagers decided to enter the house to investigate. As they stepped inside, they were horrified. Shabnam directed them towards her father's room. When they entered, they saw Shaukat Ali lying lifeless on his bed, drenched in blood. They searched other parts of the house, only to find a similar gruesome scene. Every family member was dead, lying in pools of blood. That night, 8 people were present in the house, 7 of whom had been brutally killed. The sight was ghastly. No one could comprehend what had transpired. The only survivor in the house was Shabnam, who was in a state of shock and unable to speak. Villagers sympathized with her, believing she had just lost her entire family in a single moment. As soon as it became clear that 7 people were dead, the villagers informed the local police. The news of this mass murder spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through the police department. The gravity of the incident was such that even the state and central governments were informed overnight. The local police arrived first at the scene, followed by higher authorities due to the severity of the case. What followed was an investigation that unraveled the dark and chilling truth behind this tragedy. There is a demand for a police force, and the situation becomes such that, even before sunrise, police forces from 10 nearby stations are deployed to the 52-acre farming village. Additionally, a forensic team secures the house and begins an investigation. During the initial inquiry, when people ask Shabnam about the incident, she explains that she was asleep on the terrace. Suddenly, she heard some noises. Upon coming downstairs, she saw a group of people holding axes and running away. According to Shabnam, they might have been robbers who entered the house with the intention of looting. Following her statement, news spreads throughout the city that dacoits attacked Shaukat Ali's house and killed 7 people. At the time of this incident, Mayawati was the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. Upon receiving information about the incident, Mayawati immediately announces a compensation of 5 lakhs for Shabnam, the sole survivor of the family. She also declares that no criminal involved in this heinous act will be spared. Despite Mayawati's statement, the uproar does not subside. Opposition parties politicize the issue, blaming the government for the state's poor law and order. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Mayawati decides to visit Amroha. The very next day, she arrives at the crime scene by helicopter. Mayawati assures Shabnam that the perpetrators will be caught and given the harshest punishment. Since Mayawati had already announced 5 lakhs in compensation, she intended to hand it over immediately. However, an officer investigating the case requests her to wait for the post-mortem reports of the deceased before distributing the compensation. Inspector R.P. Gupta begins the investigation by thoroughly examining the crime scene. He then starts questioning Shabnam. During the initial interrogation, he raises a critical question. When all family members were killed, how did Shabnam survive alone? Shabnam explains that she was on the terrace, which is why she survived. However, the officers are not satisfied with her response. The absence of any wrinkles on the terrace bed raises suspicion against Shabnam. Still, due to the sensitive nature of the case, the authorities refrain from accusing her outright and continue the investigation. The bodies are sent for post-mortem to a local hospital, where a team of expert doctors performs the autopsies. The reports reveal that none of the victims resisted the attack. This indicates that the victims were either asleep or unconscious when the attack occurred. To confirm whether the victims were drugged, samples are sent for further analysis. The biopsy reports soon arrive, revealing a shocking truth. Traces of poison were found in the victims' bodies. This confirms that the victims were poisoned before being brutally murdered. The pressing question remains, who did it? The sole person who could answer this was Shabnam. However, immediately detaining her could complicate matters, so the police proceed cautiously. They retrieve Shabnam's call records and uncover a startling fact. On the night of the incident, Shabnam made 52 calls to a single number. Upon investigating, they discover the number belongs to a man named Salim. The investigation then shifts towards Salim. Initially, during questioning, Shabnam claimed someone entered the house via the terrace and killed her family members. However, the investigation disproves her claim. Evidence shows the terrace door was locked from the inside. Moreover, the terrace wall was 14 feet high and plastered smooth, making it impossible for anyone to climb without a ladder. Investigators find no evidence of a ladder or any climbing device. As Shabnam's statements are repeatedly proven false, suspicion against her grows. Despite having enough reasons to act, the police decide to collect more evidence before taking any strong action. A tip-off changes the course of the investigation. An informant suggests that arresting Salim would reveal the entire truth. Salim's name first surfaced during the analysis of Shabnam's call records. This was the second instance where Salim was implicated. The police bring Salim in for questioning again on April 17th. Initially, Salim fabricates stories. However, when the police apply pressure, he confesses to the crime. Salim reveals that he committed the murders with Shabnam's consent. As proof, he hands over the axe used in the killings. When asked why he committed such a heinous act, Salim explains that Shabnam convinced him to do it. The police summon Shabnam again and confront her with Salim's confession. Shabnam denies knowing Salim and claims she never asked him to commit any crime. The police present Shabnam's call records, questioning why she made so many calls to Salim if she didn't know him. Unable to provide a convincing answer, Shabnam remains defiant. The police decide to confront Shabnam and Salim together. During this confrontation, Salim openly admits everything in front of Shabnam, urging her to confess. Hearing this, Shabnam breaks down and finally admits the truth. After hours of questioning, the full story unfolds. The murders were the result of Shabnam and Salim's love affair. Shabnam, the daughter of the wealthiest family in the village, fell in love with Salim, a wood mill worker who had dropped out of school in the 5th grade. Despite her family's disapproval, Shabnam insisted on marrying Salim. Her family, known for their status and education, strongly opposed the union. Shabnam's father, Shaukat Ali, was a college lecturer, and her brothers were well-educated professionals. Shabnam herself had a double master's degree and worked as a teacher. When Shabnam's family refused to accept Salim, the couple decided to eliminate everyone standing in their way. Together, they hatched a plan that led to the brutal murders of 7 family members. The story revolves around a chilling tale of love, betrayal, and murder. For days, Shabnam contemplated a sinister plan, convinced that her family would never accept her relationship with Salim. Finally, she met Salim and proposed a horrifying solution. If they killed her entire family, they could marry and inherit her father's entire estate. Together, Shabnam and Salim decided to poison her family. On April 14, 2008, Shabnam chose the day to execute their plan. Her 2 brothers, who were out of the house, were called back lovingly by Shabnam. She invited them for dinner, and they obliged, unaware of the deadly trap awaiting them. That evening, Shabnam, along with her cousin Rabia, prepared dinner with care and served it with affection. After the meal, Shabnam asked, "Who wants tea?" Everyone excitedly agreed. She went to the kitchen, brewed the tea, and secretly mixed the poison Salim had given her. She served it to everyone. Soon after drinking the tea, everyone began to feel unwell and retired to their rooms. The poison took its effect, silencing them all. But Shabnam was not satisfied. She called Salim, urging him to come over and finish the job. When Salim arrived, they used an axe to ensure no one survived. One by one, they brutally attacked every family member. After killing 6 people, Salim left quietly. However, Shabnam noticed her 10-month-old nephew, Arsh, was still alive. She called Salim again, but he refused to return, telling her to handle it herself. Overcome by her twisted determination, Shabnam strangled the infant with her own hands. The police soon arrested both Shabnam and Salim. A case was filed against them under multiple charges, including murder. The trial began in the district court, which sentenced both to death. They appealed to the Allahabad High Court, but the death sentence was upheld. When they took their case to the Supreme Court, it too upheld the lower court's verdict. Having exhausted their legal options, Shabnam filed a mercy petition with the president and the governor. However, all her pleas were rejected. By 2021, preparations were underway for Shabnam to become the first woman in independent India to be executed. Yet, in a last-ditch effort, Shabnam filed another mercy petition with the governor of Uttar Pradesh. The petition was transferred to the state government, and as of now, no final decision has been made. Meanwhile, Salim remains imprisoned in Naini jail, Prayagraj, while Shabnam waits in Rampur jail. A shocking revelation during her arrest in 2008 was that Shabnam was 2 months pregnant. She later gave birth to a son while in prison. For 6 years, the child lived with her in jail before being adopted by her college friend Saifi. Saifi, who had once been helped by Shabnam, took her son in as an act of gratitude and has raised him as his own. Today, Shabnam's son, now 15 years old, has also appealed to the government to commute his mother's death sentence to life imprisonment. As the case continues to draw public attention, it remains to be seen what decision the courts and government will ultimately take. What are your thoughts on this tragic and chilling tale? Let us know in the comments. If you found this story compelling, please like and share the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Crime Stories channel for more true stories from the world of crime. Thank you.